Well, good morning and welcome to Tuesday in the Truth. I'm Pastor Dan Spracker at Calvary Baptist Church in Dayton, Tennessee. I hope that you're having a most beautiful and blessed morning. I've been reading out of John chapter 21 this morning. In John 21, we see some of the events that took place after the death, the burial, and the resurrection of Jesus Christ, after he showed himself to his disciples in the upper room. Here we see Peter and some of the other disciples decide to go fishing. It says in 21:3, Simon Peter saith unto them, I go a-fishing. And they say unto him, We also go with thee. Now why did they go fishing? Well, it was many of their occupation. It's where Jesus had found them. In Mark 4:19, Jesus saith unto them, Follow me, and I will make you fishers of men. They were fishermen by occupation, and so it's what they knew, maybe where they felt comfortable. It may be they were trying to go out and earn a little extra income, or maybe they were looking to relax and unwind and hang out with friends. There is some truth to some of that, maybe, but they spent the night fishing, and they really didn't have good success. It goes on to say, they went forth and entered into a ship immediately, and that night they caught nothing. So they had a bad night fishing. My dad would often say a bad day fishing is better than a good day at work. I'm not quite sure about that. I do like a good day at work every now and then. But they had a bad night fishing. I would submit to you that they didn't go fishing for income or to relax or to unwind. They went fishing because they were hungry. They were hungry. They were looking for a good meal to eat. Many of you can understand that. I enjoy a good meal, a well-cooked meal, a well-seasoned meal. And these disciples were looking for somewhere to get a good meal. Now, in that day, they couldn't just run to a fast food joint. Of course, you don't really get good meals at a fast food joint, but they couldn't run to the Burger King or the McDonald's. They didn't have a microwave they could throw in yesterday's leftovers in and warm up. They didn't have Dollar General stores every few miles. They had to go out, they had to catch, and they had to cook their food. So they went out because they were hungry. Their bellies were empty. They were looking for a hot meal, a good meal. Yet they spent all night and they caught nothing. It goes on to say, But when the morning was now come, Jesus stood on the shore. I want us to come to a realization of this truth. There is one who can provide. When we're empty, physically, spiritually, emotionally, when we're desperate for love and for concern, attention, for help, sometimes this world, and most of the time, this world leaves us feeling a bit empty. But there's one who's standing nearby who can give us the fullness of joy. Jesus stood on the shore. You know what's wonderful about this realization that Jesus stood on the shore? He stood on the shore and he hollered out to him. He said, Children, have you any meat? And they answered him and said, No. And you know the story. He told them to cast the net on the other side. That's amazing to me. They just spent all night trying. I'm sure they tried every side and front and back and everywhere they could of the boat to try to catch a fish, and they didn't catch anything. But in that moment, they threw the net on the other side and they caught all sorts of fish. I think the number was 153 great fish. So much so that it was likely to break their nets. And it was at this point that Peter realized who was talking to them. So he jumped out of the boat and he went to the shore. The rest of the disciples came to the shore at Jesus' bidding. He said, Come. He said, Come and dine. He said, Bring your fishes. Come to the shore. You know what is so amazing about this? There on the shore, Jesus, Jehovah Jireh, the Lord will provide. There on the shore, he had fish on the coals and bread ready to serve them, a most wonderful breakfast. What they had been toiling for all night, God had on the shore ready to provide for those, his disciples. Imagine a breakfast cooked by Jesus himself. Imagine the love that was put into it. Imagine how good that would have tasted, how hungry they must have been, and how God provided for their needs. He filled their cup. He fulfilled their very need that morning. We cannot do it on our own. We need Jesus' help. And as soon as they were come to the shore in John 21:9, they saw a fire of coals there and fish laid thereon and bread. And Jesus invited them to bring the fish that they caught, come and dine. And he shared the fish with them and the bread. And what a wonderful breakfast they had that morning. It was also from that setting that Jesus taught Peter a little bit about love. He allowed them to catch 153 fish, not to consume on themselves, which they wouldn't have been able to do anyways. It's a lot of fish. But he encouraged the realization that he gives us an abundance so that we can share with others. Jesus said to Peter, "Lovest thou me?" And Peter said, "Absolutely, I love you. I love you very much. You just fed me a great meal." But Jesus said, "If you love me, you will feed my lambs. You will feed my sheep." The realization that that bounty of fish was not for them alone, but so that they can go out and share with others. God can and will give us an abundance of life, of strength, of finances, of energy, of talents, whatever it is, not so that we can consume upon ourselves, but so that we could share with others. And I'd encourage you this morning to love others as Christ has loved us. He showed his love to his disciples that morning with a great breakfast. And if we give a cup of cold water in his name, we do it as unto Jesus. Let's share back with him and with others all that he has given to us. Jehovah Jireh, God will provide for your needs today. Seek him. He's standing nearby.